Well, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining into Navazon's webinar. This webinar is going to be all about annual planning, a couple of things that you may still be able to do if you need to do some marketing before the end of the year, but also some tips and guides that we have for getting through 2021. Today, we've got David Ruff, who's a senior account manager with Navazon, myself, an account manager and digital content manager, and Colleen Adams, who is the Navazon marketing manager. And we're going to go through some slides for you. Yeah, so on today's agenda, as always, we're looking through content, operations, marketing, and then the Amazon frontier, which is going to be some new tools and programs. And then, as with all our webinars, the final 15 minutes will open up for questions and answers. And so if you have any questions out of that time, feel free to unmute your mic and go ahead and ask a question. Or while we're going through, you can go ahead and drop your questions in the chat box if you'd like. Right on. So I will start us off by going through content updates. So this year, we noticed that content changes have been occurring constantly, and the rate at which changes occur seems to be increasing. So you can have things where your content can be updated from third-party sellers, from other Amazon vendors, and that makes your detail pages inconsistent. You can have detail page suppressions where your products are unpurchasable, so they're not even available to the customer. And then you can have incorrect content, which can lead to poor reviews and higher customer returns, which in turn could make Amazon raise your damage allowance. So there's a lot of issues that can occur just from incorrect content on your detail pages. There's a lot of sources can cause. Yeah, so I'm going to go through and mute everyone real quick. See, I think I might even be able to go into event mode. Here we go. We're going into event mode. Right on. So yeah, there's plenty of detail page issues that can pop up. There's plenty of sources for them, whether it's Amazon or third-party sellers or even the customer. So that's why it's really important to be monitoring your detail pages. So maintaining catalog quality will help you improve your brand image. So having that consistent brand image across all of your products, across all of the that Amazon offers, is important to allow customers to get to know your brand and know your lifestyle. So combining the data that you can get with Amazon with your own perfect catalog will allow you to police your content. So just by looking at detail pages online, you can see if things change. But if you have your own, what we would call a perfect catalog or a list of all your corrected catalog attributes, you can regularly run that against your live content on Amazon to make sure that your product detail pages are correct. The big call out here is that maintaining the quality content of detail pages is essential to a successful catalog that sells products and drives revenue. So on Amazon, there are quite a bit of free tools that they have that are at your disposal. And one of the things that we were talking about is consistency. So if you look at this, each image on here is a different thing that you can add on Amazon, a different type of content. So there's A+ detail pages, that's more enhanced content. Your detail pages will actually look different in the Amazon mobile app than they will on the website. So to be understanding how they look in each version and make edits accordingly. There is a new feature that came up this year called Amazon Store versions. So more than just having an Amazon store, you are able to create different versions of the store that run at different times. So if you run a promotion like New Year, New You for January of 2021, you can create a specific store version that has all your promoted products right on the front page so customers can shop all your deals. And then as soon as you get into February, you can change it back to the original store layout once those deals have ended. Video ads it's still a type of advertisement, so you're still paying the cost per click, but it is a new type of tool that Amazon has opened up for advertisers. You can advertise videos both on mobile in the Amazon mobile app, as well as in the regular desktop version of Amazon. Another thing that's popped up is Amazon Posts, which was in a beta last year, and I believe is still in a beta. But essentially, it's just a short 1 to 2 sentence blog post that's attached to a product. This right here is an Amazon post, the second from the right. And if you click on that product, if you click on the post, it'll bring you to the product detail page for the product that is featured within the post. And those show up in the Amazon mobile app. And the way I like to describe it is it's like free sponsored display advertising. So those mobile posts will show up not only on your own detail pages, but on detail pages of products with similar brands. So if you are not running Amazon posts, your competitors likely are, and their posts are going to be sitting on your detail pages. So you're essentially giving them free advertising on your products. So Amazon Posts is another way to engage with the customer when they're on their phone, but it's also another way to police your detail pages and make sure you have a strong brand presence on Amazon across the platform. Another thing that came up this year is A/B testing. There is A/B testing for A+ pages, but now there's also A/B testing for titles. So in Vendor Central, you can actually go into your enhanced content portal, manage your experiments, and you can create A/B testing title experiments. And that's going to be huge, because then you can test out what keywords are working best for your product. Do you find better success with a shorter, real tight title, or are you going to find more success with something that has keywords stuffed into it? But it gives you that latitude to test that. So these are all new programs that have popped up, and we think that in order to engage customers effectively, you need to be using all of these to your advantage. So catalog structure is another thing to be thinking about as you go into 2021. The first thing on that being variations. So with Amazon, you can create variations, and that helps you to combine similar products and link them together, which allows you to capitalize on traffic, search rank, and reviews. And then it just creates a better customer experience. So if you have a bunch of shoes and they're all spread out over Amazon, they're not going to get the traffic, they're not going to get all the combined reviews. But if you combine them on a variation, they will share those reviews, they'll share those star ratings, they'll share that search rank. And it makes it much easier for the customer to browse. Another thing for your catalog structure is browse nodes. So browse nodes are the specific part of Amazon's catalog where your products sit. So something like sports and outdoors, swimming equipment, swim training fins is an example of a browse node. And it's important that you have browse nodes set up correctly so that your titles in the automated title service and the automated variation service are set up correctly, and that your bestseller ranking is attributed to the correct browse node, and that you appear in search results. So if you are searching for a product that's in business, industrial, and scientific, once you're a customer and browsing through a bunch of different products, your search bar will actually be set to the category that you are browsing products in. So if you search for a product that is outside of that category, oftentimes it will not show up in search results. So it's important to make sure your products are categorized correctly so that they show up in the correct space when the customers are looking for them. Yeah, so just another thing on utilizing A/B testing, it's now opened up for product titles and A+ pages, and we highly recommend running as many A/B tests as you can on your product titles. So not every product in your catalog is eligible. Only products that have the highest traffic, so that it can be a valid experiment, are eligible for A/B testing. And if you need more information on how to set up an A/B test or how to figure out if your products are eligible, you can contact us, or you can view it in Vendor Central, Manage My Experiments. When you're testing product titles, when you're A/B testing, whether it's product titles or A+ pages, it's important that you're testing big differences and all ones. So like we were saying earlier, test a short title and then test a long tail title with a lot of keywords stuffed into it. An example would be like the Finis Duo MP3 player. That is a short title, but then there's also the Finis Duo waterproof bone conduction MP3 and headphone for swimming, training, and biking. Something like that, where you're inputting more keywords and you're testing a large difference so you can see what customers are going to respond to better with. Yeah, and a big call out with content is it's one piece of your business. And if you're going to be successful on Amazon, you need to be coordinating across all pieces of the business. So it's really important that your content strategy lines up with your operational performance and advertising strategy. So when you set up, make sure that they have the important keywords in their title and bullets, and then add A+ video and lifestyle images where you have them. And then with your operations, make sure that you're getting products in stock, and then using dropship or born to run if products are going out of stock. And then once you have really excellent content, it's looking really good. Once you have all products in stock, then you can start driving traffic to it using your advertising. And one thing that you can get out of advertising is you get search term and keyword data from Amazon advertising, and you can use that to inform any content changes that you might have in your detail pages. So it's also a cycle that's feeding back onto it. Proper communication and coordination between teams can make or break a product success on Amazon, and in turn can make or break your business. So yeah, the key takeaways that we have: detail page monitoring is important because you can spot suppressions. Make sure you are implementing content across Amazon. So using A+, using video, using lifestyle images, using post, using all of the tools that Amazon has available. And then catalog structure, make sure you are correctly categorizing your products using browse nodes and creating variations. And then do some A/B testing. So that's a new feature that's available. Take advantage of it while it's there.
Okay, so my name is Dave Ruff, and I'll be going into the next part about operational updates. So next slide. Okay, so this was done by a third party. We wanted to share what their findings were, and then also basically add to it in another slide that comes later what we know and how this applies to Amazon. So this third party test was conducted basically on what happens when a product goes out of stock on Amazon and Walmart, and then how it affects mostly within search ranking. So what they ended up actually finding here was that 42% potential sales loss on Amazon when your in-stock rate dropped from 90% plus to less than 30%. If for 3 to 4 days it takes in order to actually gain back your full sales volume after being out of stock, even just 1 day on Amazon. And then it was 6 to 7 days time it takes to recover your organic search placement on Amazon and Walmart.com after being out of stock for 2+ days. So next slide will go into how that kind of affects with Amazon from what we know. Okay, so in terms of Amazon, basically when you go out of stock on a product, a lot of times Amazon will remove the buy box in most categories. So what happens when they remove the buy box is it'll come out and it'll have a message that says it'll be either an increased lead time message, such as like ships within 1 to 2 days or 3 to 4, maybe it'll go up to a week or a month depending on what they're expecting from you in terms of when they can get that inventory, which will normally be based upon past performance. If they have a low confidence but when they can get the inventory from you, it'll drop down further to maybe email me when available, or say something like temporarily out of stock, or they might even remove the buy box completely. When they do stuff like that, such as like removing the buy box completely, sometimes those products will even drop from search rank completely. And even if not, sometimes they'll just start dropping out of that first slot. Maybe they'll move to the second slot in search or the third slot, and they'll start moving further down the page as you're out of stock further and further. This includes even if you're doing drop ship, if you're drop shipping a product and you go from a fast track message to something slower, same thing, Amazon will start to rank your search result essentially a little bit lower than what it ranked it in the past. And then what happens is you can lose sales, as that previous study has mentioned. So this kind of highlights the importance of doing like born to run, make sure you don't go out of stock on a product, or having drop ships, so that way if you do go out of stock, you at least have a message that says 1 to 2 days, or whatever your drop ship speed is anyway. So as I mentioned here, out of stock ASINs sometimes are delisted in search. So it occurs with the ASIN that are new or they don't have sales history. So again, that goes back to the confidence intervals. Key thing here that's really important is now that we've got access to all the glance view data, you can actually see, and if you're using our WBRs, you should have the GB data included in that in the summary report. You can see the top ASINs that are having trouble with a rep out of stock. So if they're having issues there anyway, where they're going out of stock, we're looking at the page, and you can actually use that to calculate the dollars lost possibly, that you also have your conversion as well, and you can basically use that to focus on those ASINs. So Just highlighting here, like if you're not doing drop ship, try to do drop ship just because you are losing dollars and you use that to calculate what that cost is that you're losing. And then at the same time, if you can't do drop ship for some reason, you can always use born to run, and you could just use that report that we send out, again, focusing on the glance feed and say, okay, which ASINs here look like they're having trouble. Let's go and let's send Amazon some more inventory so that way we don't end up going out of stock, losing our search rank, and then costing us sales for the year as well. So, and then the graph over at the right just gives an example here. So 1 day out of stock, generally you'll lose about search rank of 1 or so if you're out for 1, and then if you go longer than that, so just 2 days, you'll start going up in the ranking, and that report ended up finding that you would actually lose about 6 placements within your search rank when you're out of stock for 2+ days. Next thing, since we're going into the new year here, forecasting has been really important. All the clients that I've been asking for has been asking for a forecast for next year, what that looks like. Extremely important too, so that way we can calculate, what your goal should be and see if your goal is realistic. When you're looking at your forecasting, if you're doing just something very basic and you're wanting to know, what can my goal possibly, you could use Amazon's ARA forecast. Their ARA forecast is going to be fairly accurate. It's not going to be exact at all. And the reason why I mention it here is so how it differs from like if you do a manual forecast would be it's actually different from the internal forecast that Amazon uses. Amazon's forecasting that's in ARA and even what they use internally is always backwards looking. So it's looking over past sales data and what actually happens. Reason why that's important is because if you go out of stock, if you have a lot of new products or you're having high growth or even seasonality, Amazon's forecast can be off because of that. Normally it'll actually be lower than anything else. Also, like Amazon gives you different intervals there. Normally they don't actually give you P60. They give you, I think, the mean, P70, and then P90. Generally, in most categories, we'll order at the P60 level, but you could always calculate something higher depending on if you're risk adverse or not. And as I mentioned, they have a lot of problems with like high growth, new products, marketing spend, demand spikes, out of stock, and lost BuyBox issue. But this forecast is very good just to give you an idea if you don't want something exact. You want to try and get a little bit more exact, especially if you're trying to use this for planning purposes. If you're working with us, we can do manual forecast for you. If you're not working with us and you're doing this on your own, what I would tell you to use most is your consumer order data. So you have ordered sales within your ARA account, or you should anyway. If you're tracking that, you'll have that at a weekly level or monthly level. And then if you're not tracking that at all, if you're not reporting it, so if you don't go back every single week and count it like we do, you would have it at least on a yearly data, but you can take that and you can plot it out. And then basically you can figure out what your consumer demand looks like. And normally your purchase orders and everything are going to follow that very closely. So what we do internally anyway is we take that data, we combine that with your purchase order data, including your dropship orders too, just because that's going to add to it with your POs, add in your out of stock data and your lost BuyBox data, assuming that you'd be 100% in stock and 100% winning the BuyBox. And then we add in any growth and seasonality, and then we compare that to the ARA forecast, and basically we use that in order to find a little bit better of a forecast than what they give you in ARA that normally tends to be fairly right. And that would be the forecast I would use for planning purposes if you can. Again, like if you're doing that, you can always determine if you want to be over or under biased in terms of risk, how much you're willing to take on anyway. And you can make adjustments. If you're working with us, just let us know what your requirements are, and then we'll build something out for you and give it to you. And then you can always go and adjust that every single month or so if you need it. The next thing we wanted to cover was on the lost BuyBox. So this is extremely important just because as COVID and lockdowns are happening again, especially like during 2020, what we saw. So there was another study done here by Digital Commerce 360, and they saw basically in 2020 year to date, there's a 20% increase in 3P sellers on Amazon, and then 3P sales also increased 25.9% year over year. This was in the first 2 quarters of 2020. So that study, and from what we've seen from experience, it's likely going to continue in 2021. More people are going to go on Amazon, especially as that's a growing platform, especially during these times with COVID happening. And if the lockdowns come back, I mean, there doesn't expect to be an increase or a stop of COVID at all until sometime late in 2021 from what we've seen. So there's going to be increased competition. It's going to be continuing there. So basically the reason why we're mentioning this is, 3P sellers are going to try and work around Amazon's matching and pricing tools. So you need to be on the lookout for that. They also 3P sellers do need to list their addresses in their Amazon storefront now. So if you have a 3P that is in there and they're basically screwing with your pricing, screwing with your sales, and you see that pop up in your glance view metrics, or you've got a high loss buy box, you can go in there and you can see exactly who that 3P seller is, and then they should have their address as well there to figure out who exactly is buying your product if you know who they are. Anyway, reason why I mentioned that anyway is that we're coming into the new year, so a lot of agreements will renew, or there'll be a lot of new agreements at least. So if you're working with a distributor or any resellers at all, you may want to put in your agreements there that they can't sell on Amazon, or they can, but they have to be in line with Amazon's pricing as well, so that way they're not going in there and it just becomes like this ladder where everybody's competing and just keeps lowering the price over and over again, and you're not making any money at all. If they're a 3P seller, like just somebody going out to the store, like a big box retailer, and buying the product, normally they have very little margins. So what we find for those types of sellers anyway is that you can use that lost buy box glance view data, and you can go in there and you can run pricing protection agreements or pricing discounts on that, where you just basically go in, you give a however you're losing it by however much, you're losing it by a penny or 3 cents or something like that, and you go and you add that in. And then normally that'll end up kicking that 3P seller off over time, just because they go, hey, this isn't worth it anymore. We can't make any money, and then they'll stop. And then you can just go back to a normal pricing strategy where you let Amazon basically use their algorithm in order to win the buy box. Essentially, if you're working with us, we'll work with you on that to make sure that you are winning, and then we'll plan that out in your marketing calendar as well. We'll be tracking that for you every single week. Next slide should be the marketing updates next. Okay, so I'm going to go over the first slide for the marketing updates, and then after that, I'm going to hand it off to Colleen, who's going to go into more detail. Okay, so as we're approaching the new year, you should already have a 2021 marketing calendar. If you're working with us, then ideally you have it already and it's in place and you have it scheduled out, even if you don't have your total budget finalized. If you don't have one yet, then you need to try and put something together. Reason, of course, is because we're in December already, and you should have your January promotion schedule, or at least planned out, especially because Amazon would like 30 days in order to have those scheduled. Amazon normally allows you now to schedule them very last minute, especially if they have decent amount of inventory for them. But that's not ideal because it doesn't give Amazon a chance to buy into that promotion at all. So even if they let you have less than 30 days to schedule a promo, like a coupon or a BX get Y, you should still try to maintain the 30-day requirement, just so that way it can go into their forecasting, because they'll put it in there, so that way it makes an adjustment of whatever they think it's going to do in terms of lift. And they have a chance to actually buy the inventory. If you're doing it last minute, then the system just doesn't have any time to react at all. So ideally, you have a calendar already planned out. And then also with your ads, same thing. You need about a 2-week minimum in order to even ramp those ads within your advertising, Amazon advertising, or AMS as it used to be called. So again, like that would be ideal to have all that planned out now that we're going into the new year here. If you don't have anything yet, then what we would suggest is that you always base it upon what your sales goal is in terms of your budget for the year. So we would normally tell you to spend about 2 to 3% on ads. Especially now that we've got glance views, you can now monitor those ads. So again, Amazon advertising, if you're running it on a new product or a set of products or so, and it's a brand new ad that you've never ran before, we could actually go back to the glance views, see when it started, and see what it did in terms of uptick for the glance views itself. New products, if you have to pick which products you're running ads on, I would always tell you new products are going to be the most beneficial, just because you're trying to move those up from a very low search rank on like page 2 or page 3, try and get that product to page 1 or at least a little bit higher, so you can actually get some sales on that. You can start generating some sales rank on that, so it'll move up within search. And then in terms of promotions, I would always tell you to spend 3 to 5% on promos. I always recommend coupons over any other promotion that's out there normally. One of the reasons why I recommend coupons is because of the lower margin requirements. So Amazon normally doesn't have to make as much money on the coupons in comparison to just the regular promotions like a best deal at all. And then on top of that, with the coupons, you also get a little bit better performance because they actually show up within search that there's a percentage off. The only negative to the coupon is that it doesn't actually lower the buy box price itself. So if you're having a lot of issues with 3P coming in and beating you on price winning that buy box, the coupon doesn't cause the price to get lower. And so it doesn't actually make it so it shows up if a 3P comes in and beats you on price. It'll get regulated to more buying choices, and then the coupon will just be an option once they go to check out of the cart. So that's kind of a negative with coupons. Uh, One time that I would recommend doing something other than a coupon would be during like a VM support period. So this is like your New Year, New You, Prime Day, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, any types of deal days at all. I normally recommend doing a best deal, or you also hear the term BX get Y thrown around. I recommend doing those instead just because those deals will normally get thrown in email campaigns, and they'll also get thrown in a lot more widgets by the VMs because unlike a coupon, there's no like a budget on it, so they don't have a stop. The vendor managers don't like to put the coupons in those types of things like emails because if they run out of budget all of a sudden, it's in that email and the customer can't go and redeem, and it's a bad customer experience. So they'll try and stay away from those and go to best deals, but I only really recommend them during those VM supported periods just because of that. Otherwise, I don't, because it doesn't actually have the benefits. It's normally a higher margin requirement, and then it also doesn't normally show up within search as having a discount or a percentage off, which normally decreases the conversion. If you do have a high loss buy box, though, then the best deal can be okay because it is lowering your buy box price itself. And then within your promo budget itself, so when we plan on a marketing calendar, we normally break it up into those two things. So promotions and then ads. And then the next thing that we add in is anything in support of that, which would be like lost buy box as an example. So what we mentioned previous, that would be another line item within your promo calendar. So I wouldn't take that out of your 3 to 5% on promotions. And then the same thing if you're doing like any major billboards on Amazon or you try and do external marketing, I wouldn't consider that as part of those ads either. On top of that, especially external marketing, because normally most people are not maximizing their spend yet on Amazon advertising. So, and that's normally where most of your search and most of your sales can come from is on Amazon advertising versus trying to go external and bring customers to Amazon. So again, if you're working with us, ideally you have a calendar already in place for 2021, or you have an idea of what you're planning on doing. If you don't, I mean, you reach out to us and we're happy to go and put something together to you and show you what strategies we kind of work through in order to figure something out. And again, these percentages are just recommendations. So I've seen people go all the way up to a 33% spend in total on both ads and promotions. And that's the most extreme I've ever seen. But people do go up higher than that if they're trying to reach certain goals or they just have the margin requirements. I'll give it to you, Colleen.
Great. Thank you very much, Dave. I'm Colleen. I am Navazon's marketing manager, and I'd like to reiterate some of the great things that have happened for Amazon advertising in 2020, pointing out that Navazon stays on top of all these new changes, and we are excited to bring these to you. So there's more, but here's 4 of the top. The sponsored display has a retargeting feature now, just like display marketing. It's rolled down into views, audiences for products and categories. We've also got some new sponsored brand category level metrics, which is a report that I'll show you. It's really exciting metrics for our sponsored brands. We have, of course, the sponsored brand video marketing and the custom mobile creatives that I've spoken of before, but I want to reiterate because they're very good marketing tools, especially in our current marketing situation. And just hot off the press is the keyword translations for sponsored brand and sponsored product. That's especially poignant for our clients who have marketing in other platforms. Spanish, we have French, we have German. So this is especially poignant for us going forward. So for the sponsored display, what I was talking to you about, the audience views retargeting. So when you have a potential customer and they're finally ready to make a purchase, we want to be confident that your brand is on top of their mind. Advertisers now have the ability to remarket to these shoppers who viewed your detail pages. We can do it within a category or a browse node on Amazon. We can customize these ads as well to shopper audience levels. We can use flexible retail-centric targeting controls and product refinement, such as price, brand, etc. We want to re-engage those shoppers that have interacted with similar products on Amazon, and those who have already especially viewed your detail pages. So for example, we could target an audience of shoppers who viewed swim training fins, and specifically target a certain brand of those who viewed swim training fins. And furthermore, we can refine that down to those brands that are within $50 to $300 that viewed in the past 30 days, for example. So we can really strategically refine these ads. Of course, it takes a highly knowledgeable person of your category and your competitors, and Navazon's excited to say that we've had good success in this area. So with display retargeting, here's a fun way that I just love to use this one. So the display, as you can see, you can call out your savings. So if you have a coupon currently running, best deal, it's really a great ad to run. Front and center there it says 15% off coupon. Wouldn't you love to have that on your competitors' pages? Yeah, we can also use creative call outs here. So for instance, you can use a holiday jingle, or you can remind shoppers the holiday is near. You can upsell from other like product pages, and entice shoppers to even buy for themselves. I've got one ad running that says, "Don't forget yourself when you and buy yada yada," because it's an exciting product, and it's just really creative ways to use this. So again, I want to reiterate that we target shoppers who have previously viewed 1, your advertised products, 2, similar products, or in 3, products in your category, maybe in a certain price range. And again, this is for a look back window of 30 days. So it's really highly likely that you'll convert to a sale if we can get you targeting to the right category. Now, the thing to remember here too is it's just coming out of beta, and so the algorithm is still building. So that's why Navazon's really good about testing and raising your efficiencies on all these different nuances, these new ad types that are coming available. So another exciting report has come out. Navazon is always listening to our pain points, and I'm really excited about this report. You can tell I'm a geek in advertising when you're excited about a report, right? I know a lot of you accounting people out there are going to second my emotion towards this, but this allows you to rate your standing within the category against the categories of your peers. And in addition to that, you can be measuring the 25th, 50th, and 75th percentiles to actually know where those metrics stand against your peers in those percentiles. Now, you might say, why do you have 25th, 50th, and 75th percentile? And again, you really have to be in the category and in the know. Again, it's just really exciting because, like, if you're at the 25th percentile, there could be reasons for that. For instance, you could be a brand that's brand new in that particular category. You could be just launching a new product. So it's really, like I said, you want to be a little knowledgeable about why you would measure within these percentiles. So the exact metrics include your return on ad spend, your impressions, your click-through rate, and your advertising cost of sales. And these metrics I'll show in the next slide. So not to overwhelm you too much with numbers, but I'm just excited to show you this. So your category level metrics report looks similar to this. I've tweaked it a little bit to make it more user friendly and more quickly digestible. So we have a category of dog health supplies. But if you look, there's 3 categories or 3 nodes that this is in. You've got pet supplies, pet supplies and dog supplies, and then it digresses farther into the dog health supplies. And if you look across the top, go through the impressions, the 25th, the 50th, and the 75th percentile, you'll see in the red that is our impressions for this particular product category. So 127,000 falls above the 50th percentile for impressions. So in this category, it's doing really well. Pet supplies, dog supplies, and dog health supplies. They're ranking very well for overall impressions in the market. You'll ask to say, if you look in the impressions for the dog supply 75th percentile, there's 1,300,000 impressions. Well, one call out for these very high impression categories is, keep in mind, your broad match keywords. So say you're in a category of foam mattress pads. Okay, so if you have the broad term foam, how many impressions do you think you'll get? Because there's foam toys, there's foam car pads, there's foam seat covers. So you will have peer groups who are marketing to the word foam. And so keep that in mind. That's why the 75th percentile will have extreme amounts of keywords, because there's still people out there marketing to extremely broad category, broad keywords. So going down farther, you've got the click-through rate, your advertising cost of sales, and your return on ad spend. So we like to really walk you through these metrics. You want to look in conjunction. So say maybe you have low impressions, but you have a very good click-through rate. Your ads are rocking it. You are on point. Your ads are in the 75th percentile of your peer group. Your ads are hitting it, baby. So that's exciting. You've got an ACoS that is just at the bottom of the peer group. You are very efficient with your ad spend, and you are hitting above the 75th percentile. Bingo. And your return on ad spend. Wow, look, your return on ad spend is higher than your 75th percentile. Well, no wonder you've got a great click-through rate, you've got a low ACoS, no wonder you've got a great return on ad spend. This is exciting stuff. So I really wanted to point out this is one of our clients, and so we're really excited to be able to share this report with you. So when we go into the sponsored brand video, and people have heard me before, no, I just love video. Video is on the cutting edge. It is one of the fastest growing mediums, when maybe just a few years ago, you can remember it was pretty costly to get into video. And guess what? We can create these videos at a cost per click, these ads at a cost per click, and not the huge costly amount that it used to be previously in the past. So it's really exciting. So the new experience that the shoppers have with engaging with your product, you can see here on the left is a snap in time of one of our videos. It overlays with text, and it engages the shopper, especially, of course, a shopper clicking on this keyword would be a swimmer, or, someone highly engaged in swimming. This is showing you wonderful videography. It's beautiful, catchy colors. you've got someone engaging in a lifestyle action, you're seeing correct form. I mean, this excites the viewer. Like, I want to be like them. We also can overlay it with call outs that can draw in your viewer and just answer any questions possibly that may be coming up. So to show you where this video lies, go over to where I've got it circled in orange. So this entire orange piece is a video ad. So the picture that you're seeing on the left is overlaid where the gray is. So that's where the video will be playing. And at the same time, they will see a picture of your item that you're selling. It will have the stars. It will have any price call outs or any coupon call outs. Just a really exciting use of advertising. And Navazon's experience is cutting edge. We are staying right on top. We've got a great creative department, and we can edit any videos that you have currently and make them fit the specs. Well, take that back. Most of the videos you have. Or at least give you the specs, and you can cut them down to your liking, and then we can give you the feedback on it. But it's just really exciting to engage the shopper's senses at a higher level than just print medium. So in conjunction with sponsored brands, there is also another piece of sponsored brands that is a custom creative for mobile ads. So that was video. This is different. Video has the one ASIN. This sponsored brand ad has 3 hero ASINs at the bottom, you can see, and it has a custom creative. That is what you'll see on mobile. So we really advise to have a great depth of creatives available to mobile ads. And one of the reasons that I really want to point out, again, to remind people that with the current state of the pandemic, with the engagement with online shopping increasing, mobile ads can be as much as 50 to 60%, in some cases of shopping are done on mobile ads. We really want to address that metric. We want to be there. We want to look good for our mobile shoppers. So look here what we have to offer. It's a holiday jingle on his wish list, okay? You're engaging shoppers. Oh, my husband might like, yeah, I've got a swimmer. Yeah, I've got someone in my family who is a swimmer. Oh yeah, their wish list, they would like something they would like a swimming item. And typically, you want to really know your shoppers. So these type of fans are for strength, they're for, endurance, they're for just a really strong training. So to combine that with the jingle, the call out, the wish list, and the custom creative, that we can really make these ads pop for you. As I said, research is suggesting that a lot of our shoppers are going to mobile ads. So we want to be catchy, and especially go ahead and tailor now to our seasonal call out, so we engage our shoppers in that whole brand experience. Okay, I was telling you about the keyword translation. It has just launched, so I'm pretty excited about that myself. It'll give us suggested keywords to use according to the keywords that we, and then of course, as users, as advertisers, we want to make sure also that those keywords are relevant for our product. But it's really exciting to go ahead and get those keywords and have the opportunity to look at them. These are available within sponsored product and sponsored brand advertising. I haven't seen them in display. Now we can select a secondary language preference, so we can instantly see those. So it's basically a spot on the screen that we can click that it will show us what our preference language is. And then before, of course, all we could see was the primary language. So it was a little challenging to create manual ads in German and sponsored brand ads in German, but it was done and it did well. But this will make it easier. So again, another example of how Amazon is listening to us and is following through on our pain points and really keeping up with the demand out there. So for strong advertising going into 2021, we have some fun pro tips. Just some fun. Let's just remember, especially this holiday season, we are engaging a bunch of shoppers. We have the homebound shopper, the elderly shopper who is not wanting to learn to shop online, but now has to because they fear getting out more than they do online shopping. We have so many more shoppers online. This is a great example of how to to build your brand loyalty and increase your repeat shoppers. We really want to help you engage with your stores, your brand stores. We want to help engage you with more A+ content. And all of these tips that Navazon is utilizing, we are going to help you build more brand loyalty and repeat shoppers by this very specialized advertising we're able to do for you. Pro tip number 2. Okay, we don't want to just create an ad and get rid of it because e-commerce is all about algorithms learning, right? We don't want to have all this algorithm learning our ad is great, it's converting great, like we saw in the pet supplies, and then go and end the ad. No, you lose all your momentum, all the relevance, and the algorithm is just now getting your organic rank to be there. You don't want to go and stop your ads. So, pro tip 2, measure your performance to keep that momentum going. Don't pull your holiday campaigns right away. Look at them, measure them, see if they've had the return according to your goals, and consider keeping them. Now, if it has, there's an exception. If it has a holiday call out, say like Mother's Day, Father's Day, any of that, your ad has to end because you have to have an end date for any holiday jingle. But other than that, always look at your performance and keep that algorithm momentum going. Pro tip 3, let's consider retaining your highest performing campaigns. And then we discontinue running those campaigns that are not meeting your goals. So kind of piggybacking on that first tip, yes, we don't want to keep the campaigns that are not meeting our goals. We are always wanting to test. We're always wanting to see what works. We don't want to have a new capability come and not test it. So with testing, you're going to have things that don't work. That doesn't mean it won't work in the future as the algorithm gets more metrics in it, but it's really important, to keep your goals in mind. So pro tip number 4, I want to piggyback really strongly on what Dave said. Start planning. Q1 is coming up. 2021 is around the corner. So in December, you need to have your goals for Q1 going. Your goals can be by brand, category, or even ASIN level if possible. But don't start your category, or pardon me, your first quarter advertising the second week of the first quarter. Right now is the time to be making your advertising adjustments or building for Q1. Keep in mind, it takes 14 days for a new ad to become efficient, 14 days for the sales to attribute. So for your Q1 campaigns, if you're going to have new ones starting, we want to start those 14 days in advance if possible. Otherwise, you'll get to Q1 and you'll have 14 days of ramping new, which is fine if we just want to have you keep that in mind. So Navazon, knowing your product, planning early, and another kind of call out. Remember, if you hit a speed bump in Q1, it's common. There's no one out there who doesn't have speed bumps. Take your ad spend, move it to Q2. Don't just set it and forget it. Don't say, okay, I only have $500 this month. I only have $10,000 this month. be willing to test, be willing to move your ad spend around, and be able to look into the future. I mean, even roll it over into the next year. Because keep in mind, our e-commerce shoppers are there to stay. We have more shoppers than ever right now. Navazon's staying on the cutting edge of Amazon advertising. We showed and test all these new ad types for our clients, and we're really excited to have a strong advertising for 2021. Thanks, everybody. I am going to pass the baton.
Nice. Thank you very much, Colleen. That was awesome. Those are some really strong call outs for advertising. It's money. Yeah, so the next section on here is the Amazon Frontier, new tools and programs. And it's things that we find to be on the cutting edge of Amazon. Sometimes in this we'll put in articles that we find or tools that we see that can help vendors. And this month we wanted to go over a couple of Navazon's products and the technology side of Navazon that we're working on. So 2021 for us is going to be a year for a wider release. And right now, we're just fine-tuning everything. So we're beta testing with a few of our vendors and refining our processes. We're stress testing the technology so that when we do launch, we have a robust set of products that will allow you to do your job better and faster. So I'll take you through the 3 of the products that we are looking to offer and a little explanation of what they do and how they work. Yeah, so the first one is a product availability tracker. And why? Because product availability is key. This is the heart of what it means to sell on Amazon. Product is set up, it's ordered by Amazon, it's sold to the customer, and then Amazon replenishes. That's the cycle. That's the entire philosophy of selling on Amazon, is to improve that cycle. And so we set up this product to catch hiccups and help push products through that cycle. Find out, okay, why is a product not being ordered? And if it is being ordered, why selling to owners? So we look for things like replenishment codes that are incorrect, products that are out of stock, anytime there are suppressions. That's the type of thing that we're looking for in this product. The next product is the Navazon Spotlight, which is our content scorecard. And why? Because your brand is important. If your company is a person, your brand is your reputation. It's what you wear, it's what you say, it's what others say about you. So we set up this product so that you can understand what your brand looks like to the customer. What it allows you to do is monitor your entire catalog immediately, right at a glance, identify products that are retail ready so that you can pass them over to Colleen and she can run an advertisement on them, and then allows you to catch content changes and suppressions that would otherwise potentially cause you a loss in sales or reduce your customer reviews. And then the last one on there is the Navazon Compass, which is going to be sort of an all-encompassing Amazon Analytics dashboard. And why? Because understanding your business takes time. As an agency, we've got plenty of experience pulling data from Vendor Central. And if you work with us, you're probably familiar with our WBR, which consists of more than 20 separate reports downloaded and combined into a single document. It's pivot tables, VLOOKUPs, if errors, sum ifs, just to get you to understand where your business is. And so you need to keep, if you're going to be successful on Amazon, you need to keep your eye on content, on your operations, and on your marketing. And so we're seeking to simplify this process so that you have all the data at your fingertips. We set this up to empower you to make decisions and report out to all relevant stakeholders, whether that's presenting to the C-suite or brand managers or manufacturers whose product you're selling. Yeah, so like I said earlier, these 3 products are right now in a beta stage. We're testing them, we're refining them, and we're looking to get a wider release later on in this year. So now we will move it over to the Q&A period, if you would like. Right on. Well, if anyone has any questions, you can feel free to send me an email. The contact information is at the end of the slide, so we'll just go on to our key takeaways. So the key takeaways that we saw today is coordination is key. It's crucial to succeeding on Amazon. Making sure that you have strong content and inventory are going to be the foundations for your marketing strategy, which is really the biggest growth lever that you have on Amazon. So making sure that all the parts of your business are talking together and communicating is one of the biggest things for your success on Amazon. Another thing that Dave helped walk us through is how out of stocks have an immediate and costly effect on your sales. So if you go out of stock, you start dropping in search rank, and now you have to spend more on advertising to get your products ranking higher organically. But these things can be mitigated with a strong forecast, with activating dropship, and using born to run offers. And then Colleen brought us through some of the brand new features and reports that are available to advertisers on Amazon, and a couple of ways that you can use these to really boost your account. And then the strong message from both her and Dave was, if you haven't already, it's time to set up your marketing budget and your strategy for the year, because 2021 starts in 16 days, and you need to make sure you're ready with a plan. Because Amazon is a dynamic and constantly evolving marketplace. You need to have a plan in place to be successful, and you need to be prepared to adapt on the move. Right on. Well, thank you very much for joining. If you have any questions, feel free to visit our website, navazonconsulting.com, or you can send me an email at patrick@navazonconsulting.com. Again, thank you very much for joining. As always, this webinar will be posted on our website, and we look forward to connecting with you next month. Thanks.